Something changed, not last week, not last month. It started quietly in March of 2025, and by the time most retirees figured out what was happening, it had already cost thousands of Americans their monthly checks, their direct deposits, their ability to change a single piece of information on their own account without driving to a government office, standing in a line that stretches out the door, and proving to a stranger behind a desk that they are who they say they are. And here is the part that nobody on the news is explaining clearly: this is not over. It is not fixed. It is getting worse, because the same agency that changed the rules in 2025 lost 7,000 of its own employees that same year. 7,000. The people who were supposed to help you navigate the new system are gone. The offices you were supposed to walk into are closing, and the phone lines you were supposed to call are now averaging wait times that seniors across this country describe as hours of silence, followed by a disconnection. In the next 20 minutes, I am going to walk you through exactly what changed, why it changed, who it is already affecting, what is happening right now inside the Social Security Administration that the agency is not telling you about, and the 5 specific steps every retiree in America needs to take this week before this situation gets any worse, because here is the truth that every retiree deserves to hear plainly. The Social Security Administration is the single most important financial institution in your life, more important than your bank, more important than your IRA, more than your pension, because if your bank goes down, the FDIC covers you. If your 401,000 drops, it comes back. But if your Social Security check stops arriving, or gets frozen, or gets sent to the wrong account because you cannot get through to anyone to fix an error, there is no backup. There is no second source. There is just you staring at a bank account that used to have your check in it, trying to reach an agency that has been hollowed out from the inside. That is not a prediction. That is what is happening to tens of thousands of retirees right now, all across this country, quietly, without a single news alert, without a single letter from your congressman. My name is Marcus Graves. I am an enrolled agent, federally licensed to represent taxpayers directly in front of the Internal Revenue Service, and I work every week with retired clients navigating the exact intersection of Social Security, federal tax rules, and the kind of administrative traps I am about to walk you through. The information in this video is not theoretical. It is not political. It is the same information I sit down and go through with real clients in real offices, people who came to me confused, scared, and in some cases completely without income for weeks because of changes they were never warned about. Let me start with the change that hit first, because it is the one that is still catching people off guard. Change number 1, the identity verification trap. On March 18th of 2025, the Social Security Administration announced that it was changing how it verifies the identity of beneficiaries who need to update their accounts, file new claims, or change their direct deposit information. Before that date, if you needed to update your information, you had options. You could do it online, you could do it over the phone. A representative from the agency would walk you through it. For decades, the phone was the lifeline for seniors who are not comfortable with computers, for people in rural areas without reliable internet, for anyone over the age of 70 who did not grow up with a smartphone in their hand. That option is now gone. Under the new policy, if you cannot verify your identity through an online account, you are required to appear in person at a Social Security Administration office. In person, which sounds simple until you understand what has happened to those offices at the exact same time this rule went into effect. 26 Social Security field offices across the country were scheduled to close in 2025. 6 of the agency's 10 regional headquarters offices were announced for closure. Field offices that used to serve their communities are now understaffed, overrun with people who had no other option, and in some cases closed entirely, leaving seniors in certain parts of this country driving more than 100 miles to the nearest remaining location. Let me give you a real picture of what this looks like on the ground. Dorothy is 72 years old. She lives outside of Beckley, West Virginia. She spent 31 years as a licensed practical nurse at the same regional hospital before her knees gave out and she retired. Her husband passed away in 2023. She collects Social Security survivor benefits on his record. Last fall, Dorothy's bank was acquired by a regional credit union and her account number changed. She needed to update her direct deposit information with the Social Security Administration. She called the number she had always called. The wait time was over 3 hours. She called back. The next morning, 2.5 hours, she held, nobody answered. She went online. She had never set up a mySSA account because she had never needed one before. The new login system required either a Login.gov account or an ID.me account, both of which required her to upload photos of her driver's license and take a live selfie using her phone's camera. Dorothy has a flip phone. She does not own a smartphone. She does not own a laptop. The nearest Social Security field office to Beckley is more than 40 miles away. Dorothy does not drive on highways. Her daughter, who lives 40 minutes in the other direction, took a day off work to drive her there. They arrived at 9 in the morning. The wait was over 4 hours. When Dorothy finally sat down with a representative, the representative told her that because of recent staffing changes, they could process her direct deposit update that day, but that it would take between 1 and 3 billing cycles to take effect. Dorothy went 2 months without knowing for certain whether her check was going to end in the right account. She borrowed money from her daughter to cover her prescriptions in the meantime. When the check finally started arriving at the new account, nobody called her, nobody sent a letter. The money simply appeared one day. Dorothy did nothing wrong. Dorothy is a retired nurse who needed to update a bank account number, and the system that was built to serve her made her wait for hours in a government office, drove her 40 miles from her home, and left her financially uncertain for 60 days. That is not an edge case. That is the new normal, and it is the direct result of a policy change that nobody explained to the 73 million Americans who depend on this agency for their monthly income. Now let me tell you about the second change, because this is the one that hits people who thought they were safe. Change number 2, the login system replacement. As of June 7th of 2025, the Social Security Administration removed the ability to log into your mySSA account using the old Social Security username and password system. Gone entirely. No transition period, no warning notice, just gone. Every single person who had been managing their Social Security account online for years had to create a new login through either Login.gov or ID.me. Both of those systems require identity verification that involves uploading government-issued photo identification and in many cases submitting to a biometric scan. For younger retirees who are comfortable with technology, this was an inconvenience. For seniors in their 70s and 80s, many of whom set up their mySSA accounts specifically so they could manage their benefits from home without going to an office, this change effectively locked them out of their own accounts overnight. Here is why this matters beyond the inconvenience. Your mySSA account is not just where you check your benefit amount, it is where you update your direct deposit information. It is where you review your earnings history. It is where you receive official notices from the agency, including overpayment letters, the ones with the 90-day deadline I talked about in a previous video. It is where you can see if there is a flag, a hold, or a pending review on your account. If you cannot access your mySSA account, you are flying blind, and flying blind with a government agency that has lost 7,000 employees and is processing backlogs that stretch across months is not just inconvenient, it is dangerous. Let me be precise about who this change hit the hardest, because it is not who you might assume. It did not only hit the lowest income seniors. In fact, many of the lowest income seniors, the ones on supplemental security income, had already been dealing with in-person requirements for years. The people hit hardest by the login change were exactly the kind of careful, organized, middle-class retirees who had done everything right. People who set up their online accounts early, who checked their benefit statements annually, who updated their information promptly, who had been told by their financial advisors to monitor their Social Security records online. Those people walked into the new system and found that the account they had been maintaining for years no longer existed as they knew it. A 68-year-old retired school principal in suburban Ohio, a 71-year-old retired engineer in Phoenix, a 64-year-old retired office manager in Charlotte, all of them locked out, all of them on hold for hours, all of them told to appear in person at an office where wait times had tripled because of the staffing cuts. Lower income retiree and comfortable middle-class retiree, same problem. Same locked account, same empty waiting room at the local field office that used to have 10 people behind the counter and now has 3. Change number 3, the 7,000 employee problem. I need to spend real time on this one because it is the underlying reason every other problem in this video is as bad as it is, and it is the change that nobody is connecting to the others. In 2025, the Social Security Administration lost more than 7,000 employees, 7,000, that is the largest single-year staffing reduction in the history of an agency that has existed since 1935. The cuts came as part of a broader federal workforce reduction effort, and they hit the Social Security Administration with a force that former agency commissioners publicly described as catastrophic. Former Social Security Commissioner Martin O'Malley warned Congress directly, his words, not mine, at this rate they will break it, and they will break it fast, and there will be an interruption of benefits. To understand what 7,000 lost employees means in practical terms, consider this number. Before the cuts, one Social Security Administration employee served roughly 450 beneficiaries. After the cuts, one employee now serves approximately 1,480 beneficiaries. That is more than 3 times the workload on every remaining staff member. And here is the detail that makes it even worse. The cuts were not surgical. The agency did not lose redundant administrators or back office functions that could be safely eliminated. It lost customer service workers, the people who answer the phones, the people who sit at the windows in field offices, the people who process claims, review overpayment disputes, and handle the direct deposit changes that seniors like Dorothy in West Virginia cannot process online. Those people are gone. The agency's response to the staffing crisis has been to reassign surviving employees into roles they were not trained for. IT specialists were reassigned to process disability decisions. Human resources employees were told to master complex benefit rules. The result, according to internal union reports, has been a wave of system outages because the IT infrastructure is no longer being maintained by the people who know how to maintain it. The Social Security Administration's own website has experienced repeated crashes throughout 2025 and into 2026, at exactly the moment when the agency was pushing seniors to manage everything online. Let me give you the number that tells the whole story. In 2026, the Social Security Administration is processing more than 75 million beneficiary accounts with the smallest workforce it has had in decades. That math does not work. It has never worked, and the people paying the price for that math are the retirees. Waiting on hold, the retirees driving 2 offices that are 2 hours away, the retirees whose direct deposit changes are sitting in a queue that no one has the staff to process in a reasonable amount of time. Change number 4, the direct deposit hold problem. This one is newer, and it is the one that is landing in retirees' bank accounts right now. In 2025, the Social Security Administration quietly tightened its fraud controls around direct deposit changes. The reasoning was legitimate. Criminals had been exploiting the old phone-based verification system to reroute seniors' benefit payments to fraudulent accounts. The new rules were designed to prevent that. Here is what the new rules actually do in practice. When you submit a direct deposit change through your mySSA account, the change is now subject to a mandatory hold period before it goes into effect. During that hold period, your payment continues to go to the old account. If the old account has been closed, the payment bounces back to the Social Security Administration. The agency holds the returned payment while it processes the update. The processing time, according to the agency's own published guidance, can be between 1 and 3 billing cycles. 1 billing cycle is 1 month, 3 billing cycles is 3 months, which means a retiree who changes banks, as millions of seniors have done since the regional bank consolidation wave of 2024 and 2025, can go up to 3 months without receiving a Social Security payment in their new account. The money is not lost, it is sitting in a government queue. But for a retiree living on a fixed income with no other source of money, 3 months without a check landing anywhere accessible is a financial emergency. And here is the piece that connects this change to the staffing problem. The hold period is supposed to involve a human review. Someone at the agency is supposed to verify the new account information, confirm the identity of the beneficiary, and release the payment. But with 1,480 beneficiaries per employee, that review does not always happen on schedule. Some of these cases are sitting in queues for weeks longer than the published guidance suggests, and because the agency is legally prohibited from discussing pending reviews with anyone other than the account holder, and because the account holder has to navigate the same broken phone and online system to get information, people are sitting in financial uncertainty. with no clear answer about when their money will arrive. Change number 5, the office access chrysalit me close with the change that ties all of the others together, because it is the one that eliminates the safety valve that used to exist when everything else went wrong. When the phone system failed, you went to the office. When the online system was confusing, you went to the office. When your direct deposit was wrong, you went to the office and talked to a human being who could look at your account, identify the problem, and fix it that day. That option is disappearing. 26 field offices closed in 2025. More are scheduled for 2026. In the communities where those offices closed, the nearest remaining location is often more than 50 miles away. For seniors who do not drive, who have mobility limitations, who live in rural areas without public transportation, that distance is not an inconvenience. It is a barrier that effectively makes the Social Security Administration inaccessible. And the offices that remain open are overwhelmed because those 26 closed offices did not eliminate the people who needed them. Those people transferred their needs to the nearest remaining location. The wait times at open offices in urban and suburban areas have stretched from the 30 or 40 minutes they used to be 2, 3, 4, and sometimes 5 hours. In some field offices, the number of visitors has more than doubled while the number of staff has decreased. The math is the same as the phone system: more people, fewer workers, longer waits, more errors, more delays. I have worked with clients who visited a Social Security office 3 separate times to resolve a single direct deposit error, 3 visits, 3 half-day commitments. For a retired person with health issues, that is not just an inconvenience, it is a physical and financial burden that the people who designed these cuts never seem to calculate. Now I want to tell you what to do, because the purpose of this video is not to scare you, it is to give you the exact moves that protect you before you become one of the people I just described. Protection move number 1, set up your mySSA account this week, not next month. Go to mySSA.gov right now. Create your account through Login.gov or id.me before you need it. The identity verification process takes between 15 and 30 minutes if you have a smartphone with a camera and a current government-issued photo ID. If you do not have those things, this is the time to figure that out and get help from a family member, a library, or a senior center before you are trying to solve an urgent payment problem at the same time. The single worst moment to discover your mySSA account does not work is the moment your check stops arriving. Set it up now when there is no emergency and verify that you can log in and see your payment information. That confirmation takes 5 minutes and eliminates the most common crisis I see in my office. Protection move number 2. Verify your direct deposit information today. Log into your mySSA account and confirm the bank name, routing number, and account number that your Social Security payment is going to. Write it down somewhere physical, then cross-reference it against your current bank account information. If you have changed banks in the last 12 months and you have not updated your Social Security direct deposit information, do it now, not after your next check fails to arrive. Now, doing it now gives you the maximum processing window before the change affects your payment schedule, and if you need to update it and cannot do it online, call the agency or make an in-person appointment. Before you close your old account, the most dangerous sequence is closing the old account first and then trying to update Social Security. That sequence almost guarantees at least one missed payment cycle. Protection move number 3, build a 1-month cash buffer in a separate account. I know this is harder than it sounds on a fixed income, but even a partial buffer matters. If your monthly Social Security benefit is $2,000, having $1,000 in a separate savings account that you do not touch creates a window where a 1-month payment delay does not become a missed rent check or a skipped prescription. The Social Security Administration's payment processing problems are not going to resolve immediately. The staffing cuts are real, the backlogs are real, the system outages are real. A cash buffer is not a long-term solution. It is a short-term bridge that converts a crisis into an inconvenience. Protection move number 4, know exactly which Wednesday you get paid. If you are a retiree born between the 1st and the 10th of any month, your payment comes on the 2nd Wednesday. Born between the 11th and the 20th, 3rd Wednesday. Born between the 21st and the 31st, 4th Wednesday. Know your date, put it on your calendar for every month. On that day, check your bank account. If the deposit is not there by end of business, call the agency immediately. Do not wait 3 days. Do not assume it is coming. Call on the day it is due, because the earlier you identify a processing problem, the faster it gets resolved, and the shorter the gap before your money arrives. Protection move number 5, watch your mail for any Social Security Administration letter and open it the day it arrives. The overpayment clawback rule I have covered before in detail, and it is still in effect. The agency can withhold up to 50% of your monthly benefit the moment it determines an overpayment occurred. The notice comes in a plain envelope. It looks like junk mail. Seniors set it aside constantly, but the most important thing to understand right now is that any letter from the Social Security Administration could contain a deadline, a 90-day window, a 30-day response requirement. An action required to prevent a payment hold in a system that is understaffed, overwhelmed, and operating on a backlog. Those deadlines do not flex. Miss one and you are waiting months for a resolution that could have been prevented in 30 minutes. Open the letter, read it the day it arrives. If you do not understand it, call the agency. Take it to a senior legal aid office or call someone like me, but do not set it aside. Now I want to add one bonus move, because it is the protection that almost no retiree has put in place, and that would have prevented almost every case I described today. The bonus move is called a trusted contact designation, and you can set it up through your Social Security Administration account today. A trusted contact is a person, a family member, a close friend, a professional representative that the Social Security Administration is authorized to contact if something goes wrong with your account, not to make changes, not to access your benefits, simply to receive a notification if the agency is trying to reach you and cannot get through. In a system where mail goes to old addresses, phones go unanswered, and online accounts get locked, having a trusted contact on file means that your daughter, your son, your attorney, or your financial advisor gets a call before a problem becomes a crisis, before the overpayment clock runs out, before the direct deposit error sits unresolved for 2 months. The designation takes 10 minutes to set up, it costs nothing, and for the retiree who lives alone, who does not have family nearby, or who has any health condition that might make it harder to navigate a bureaucratic problem on their own, it is the single highest leverage protection you can put in place today. Most retirees have never heard of it. The agency does not advertise it, which is why I am telling you now. Let me bring all of this together with the one idea that matters more than any single fact in this video. The Social Security Administration was built as a promise. It was built on the principle that if you paid into the system for your entire working life, the system would be there for you when you needed it. That promise is still in the law. The money is still being deposited into the trust fund. The checks are still being issued, but the infrastructure that delivers on that promise is under a level of stress it has not experienced in nearly a century. 7,000 employees gone, 26 offices closed, phone lines overwhelmed, online systems requiring technology that millions of seniors do not have, direct deposit holds that can last months. The promise is intact. The delivery system is strained to the breaking point, and in a strained system, the retirees who protect themselves are the ones who set up their accounts before they need them, who verify their information before something goes wrong, who know their payment dates, their forms, their deadlines, who have a trusted contact on file. The retirees who get hurt are the ones who assumed the system would take care of itself, who set aside the letter, who waited until the check stopped coming to start asking questions. That is why this video exists, not to frighten you, not to make you distrust a system you have paid into your entire working life, but to give you the information that the agency is too understaffed to communicate clearly, so that you can be in the first group and not the second. Before I close, I want to give you something that ties all of this together. I put together a free guide, my 2026 Social Security Protection Checklist. It walks through every change I covered today, every form, every deadline, every account setting, and every protection move, in plain language, one step at a time. It includes the exact steps to set up Login.gov and ID.me, the protocol for a direct deposit change that minimizes your gap risk, the 3 forms to file if an overpayment notice arrives, and the complete payment calendar for every Wednesday cohort for the rest of the year. To get it sent directly to you, go to marcusgravestax.com/checklist. That link is also in the description below. Grab Print it and go through it this week while there is no emergency, so you have everything in place before there is one. Here is what I want to leave you with. The people who built this system are counting on one thing, not that you are irresponsible, not that you are careless. They are counting on the fact that most retirees believe the system will protect itself, that a check that has arrived every month for 20 years will simply continue to arrive, that a problem in Washington stays in Washington and does not reach into your bank account on the second Wednesday of the month. That assumption, that quiet faith in the system operating on autopilot is the single most expensive belief a retiree can hold right now. The system is still there, the money is still coming, but getting it into your account in the right amount, on the right day, to the right bank, through a system that has lost 7,000 people and closed 24 offices, is no longer automatic. It requires you now have the 5 protection moves, you have the bonus contact designation, you have the checklist.do. One more thing for me, send this video to one person in your life who is over 65 and collecting Social Security. It does not matter whether they are on a fixed income or sitting on a paid-off house. The login change affected everyone. The direct deposit hold affects everyone. The office closures affect everyone. One share from you today could be the difference between someone navigating the system smoothly and someone spending 3 months without their check wondering what happened. That is what this channel is here to do. I will see you in the next one.